So what's the new trend? What is the new trend? What I've discovered is right here. I call it the cash flow system, just because you need multiple streams of income. People call that cash flow. Here's what the cash flow system says. Basically, here's the problem. Every book you read about starting your own business, every online program you see about starting your own business, there's one problem. You're starting from scratch, and it's relatively hard to start from scratch. You have to hire people. You got to get a website up. You have to get accounting correct. You have to get customer support people. You have to do. You have to actually fulfill whatever it is you're selling to people. So you have to either buy a product and have it in inventory, or you need to, if it's a service business, you got to use your labor to provide the service. You got to hire salespeople. You have to hire an assistant. And so a lot of people, if you've watched, a lot of people get lost in that process because that's a hard process. Don't get me wrong. So I went back. It's been right in front of my eyes the whole time. Back in back when I was 20, I was 19 and a half, 20 years old. My first business, I partnered with my mentor, Joel Salatin. He had the whole business set up. I duplicated what he did. Now this is back in grass-fed beef business. Okay, but this applies. The principle doesn't matter if it's grass-fed beef, online sales, real estate, investment, doesn't matter. But I partnered with my mentor. He had enough. I had no capital to start, right? I had a couple $100 in my bank account. He was able to front the money, $60,000 for us to buy the cattle. And then he split the money with me. And I made that year, I think, I've talked to him since. He only lives a few miles down. I own a farm here. I'm in my little farm cottage house. It's about 400-acre farm. It's cool. It's raining right now if you hear the rain. But I talked to him. He wrote me a check for 12 grand, which was a lot of money. In fact, then I took that 12 grand. Remember I told you I should have multiple streams of income. I had a job. I had this part-time with Joel Salatin. I made $1,000 a month there. I made another $1,000 here. I had multiple streams. I saved that money. I invested it wisely. He then gave me the connections. I went to Tasmania, Australia, and met a guy named Bill Mollison and Gary Townsend and Dr. Gordon Hazard. He connected me. I partnered with him. He duplicated his business, split the profit with me, and then he gave me the connections to reinvest my profits, and I did. And that is the beginning of everything you see now. That became the beginning of something very large. Over 2 billion minutes of my videos have been watched just on YouTube alone. Almost 2 billion. I'm like 1.9 something billion. And 500 million views. So that's just YouTube. If you count Instagram and Facebook, I'm probably approaching 1 billion views. But that all became because of somebody else helping me out. Somebody else allowing them to partner with me. And so as I look back over the last few years, if you've been following me or not, I've trained a lot of people, but I haven't partnered with a lot of people. And there's a big difference. See, Joel Salatin was training me as an entrepreneur, training me how to create multiple streams of income. But to get me off the ground, he actually partnered with me. And within a few years of that, and that was less formal. Well, I'm about to show you a more step-by-step system. But that allowed me to get to 6 figures. You know, that got me to, that was the catalyst that got me to from zero to making, I was making $8,000 to $10,000 a month, which was a lot of money for me. Okay? On my own, I started from scratch. So I was ordinary. I was ordinary in terms of wealth. I didn't have a rich parent. I'd never been to Beverly Hills. I'd never seen a Lamborghini. Like all those things that people think about me. I'd never been on a private jet. I didn't even really know people took private jets. All I knew is I didn't want to be broke anymore. All I knew is I wanted to be secure. All I knew is I didn't want to have sleepless nights. All I knew is I didn't want to repeat some of the things that I saw in my family. My dad was from Harlem. You know, my dad ended up going to prison when I was young. Didn't have much money. You got mixed up trying to make money. When people are broke, bad things happen. So let me explain for you. This is what I have for you today, okay? This is what I have for you. And this is limited. I cannot do it with everything because if I do it with too many people, it saturates, just like the social media marketing agency program, which still works. Don't get me wrong. There's people buying it every day. But I told people get in 2016, and a lot of people were skeptical, and you know, skeptics lose. People who got in early got the biggest results. And of course, that follows the second of the 3 commandments of wealth. You know, thou shalt invest thy money in new trends early, not late to the game. So I'm gonna give you the chance to be early to this new game. Here's what I want to do. I've created a cash flow partnership with me. Okay. Now, let me step back real quick. Explain one thing. For sure, you got to invest in new things, new trends. What are the big new trends out there that I see? I mean, CBD is a big new trend that you hear a lot about, right? Quickly growing market. Social media was a big trend like back 2015, 2016. It's not so big anymore. I was on Google AdWords, one of the first people on. Online advertising was a big trend. I caught that trend. So what's the trends for right now? Well, I said CBD is one, but you know what's one that nobody thinks about, that's dwarfs anything that you could think of? Online education. Did you know online education, this is 2016, was projected to go to it was already like $100 billion industry. 100 billion. Let me put that in perspective. The whole nutritional supplement in the entire United States is only like 60 billion. Online education is so massive that richest man in the world, Bill Gates, Microsoft, they own LinkedIn. They bought a website called lynda.com, which is online education, and they paid over $1 billion for it. Over $1 billion. Harvard's going online. All this stuff is going online. Online education is the trend that I have invested my money in. Well over $50 million, by the way. Okay, so when I say money, I'm talking money. I've invested and reinvested profits well over that number. Because online education is insane. Let me tell you why it's such a good trend for you to catch. One, it's very lucrative, but more importantly, it helps the world. Imagine that.